Make sure it sounds good first.
Oh, I'm sure it's gonna be great.
Craptastic.
It's gonna be
version.
fantastic. I have a good feeling about this.
Geekonomics, Game of Thrones series of finale review show.
Right, and this is playing right now is Marc Fowler. He's on YouTube. I think
Yes.
it's a fantastic. We took a chance on this video.
Took a chance.
And it's pretty good.
Take a chance, or something like that.
And I
Take
was
a
telling
chance
Mark,
on me.
as we were listening to this,
Yes.
just listen to the sweet sounds. I was saying in 10 years or 20 years, when they bring Game of Thrones back in a movie.
I love how you think it's gonna be that long. I feel like 5.
Well, they're already preparing the prequels.
Yeah, but I'm saying I think it's 5 or 6 years they'll do another.
No, it's done. They said their characters are never coming back. This is totally done.
People say that all the time, but I think Ben Hoff and Wise will be like, "Oh, a couple bucket loads of money? Sure, we'll do another one."
I hate to burst your bubble. They're working on the next Star Wars trilogy.
Well, I
They're
know
not
they
going to
are.
have no time. Clearly, they have no time for Game of Thrones if you watch season 8. Clearly, they have no fucking
to wrap it up
time.
quick.
They fucking had to wrap that shit
The
up.
boss was like, "Hey, we got you to start working on the Star Wars stuff. Could you wrap up this Game of Thrones show that you're doing? This little show you're putting
Star
on?"
Wars, their Star Wars is supposed to hit in 2021.
They definitely mailed in the scripts.
And they got 3 movie deal, trilogy. So Game of Thrones is done to them. It's all Star Wars from here on out.
I gotta say, this past season of Game of Thrones worried me about their Star Wars movies.
I mean, there's a lot of worry there. I agree.
mean, they're good when they have source material they can work off of, but going on their own, not so much. Not so good.
Well, here's
having to think up their own solutions to things. Not really good.
George R.R. Martin gave them what the ending would be. They used part of that in this wrap up. But
not the good parts.
They really rushed this season.
Yes, they did.
But we've talked about that in length last episode. I don't want to just retrudge that. I really want to go through this final episode, Mark. I think let's start off positive. Let's start off with the positive stuff. Because, overall, Game of Thrones, from start till now, is still by far the best looking.
Yes.
The biggest budget, the best acted.
Production value.
Cinematography is amazing. Soundtrack's amazing. Better than you see in most big budget films, I would argue. And I would also say that we've saw some of the best battles on television ever. Battle of the Bastards.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, I don't like the internet's attitude right now. We can't take away what the whole series.
I think it's more of I spent 8 seasons on this show, and that's what I got for an ending.
I get it, but sometimes it's about the journey than the destination. And in this case, it's about the journey, in my opinion.
It's definitely about the journey, because the destination was not where I wanted to go.
Right. Now,
it was like my GPS sent me down a dirt road instead of here's a road here, but it's really just goes into a pond.
Yeah.
That's basically what it was like. Like that time we were in Maine where sent us down a road that didn't even exist. There was a building there instead.
And that's season 8 for you.
Yes, that was season 8.
But let's start off with a positive, Mark. I'll start off. I will start off by saying I did like the production value. I did like the cinematography. I did really like the acting. And case in point, when Tyrion was walking into the burning King's Landing.
Yes.
That was a really awesome scene. You see that guy's half burnt, walking, stumbling out.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
It was pretty epic, and I mean, it really hit home what just happened.
Yeah.
It was very reminiscent. I hate to compare it to something in real life like this, but
Chernobyl?
9/11. It reminded me.
I thought of that, and I thought of Chernobyl.
Chernobyl, yeah.
That kind of, because they like the HBO's doing that right now.
Right. But like with the ash falling and the burning buildings. And
people would be like, oh, it's snow falling. Like, no, it's ash.
It's ash. And it really was a great, well-filmed scene. And I thought seeing Tyrion find his brother and sister.
Yes.
And crying. And I thought that scene was really good. Yeah. And it probably was my favorite.
Because he wanted them to get out. That was his thing.
Yeah,
he thought he could make one last ditch effort to like get his family out, basically.
Right.
Because he like wanted them to be able to.
He's literally the last Lannister.
Yeah, he is.
And did you get the callback? I didn't get this. Someone talked about it. I'm like, holy shit. So I don't know what season it happened, but there was a flashback. Remember when Tyrion was little, he used to squish the bugs?
Yeah.
And Jaime's the one who helped him. I mean, Jaime protected him. He would have been killed. And he said that to Jaime. So when he had the brick, he started slamming the brick.
Yeah.
Like when he used to kill the bugs.
Yeah.
And I think, what does it cost? Do these dead bodies matter? I mean, why?
Yeah.
Does it even matter to the end? You're going to die, and everybody else's life doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And all these people did die, and they ended up dying too. So what did it matter?
Yeah.
And I thought that was a very sweet scene. I really enjoyed that whole arc for Tyrion.
Yes. Yeah.
And I liked seeing him actually see them and cry over them. I think that was warranted and worth spending 10 minutes on.
That's about the best part of the whole episode.
I mean, I do agree on that, actually.
One of the best parts of the whole episode. After that, it kind of went slowly downhill.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Which is sad, because that was like the first 10 minutes of the whole episode. And there was another 70 minutes or whatever it was left.
I did like the fact that we get to see Jon Snow pet Ghost. That was something that everybody seemed to want a couple episodes ago.
Yeah, I guess so.
Everybody's like, pet Ghost goodbye, pet Ghost goodbye. And then we saw Ghost and he petted him and it was nice. I actually got teary-eyed on them. Like, that's the best part of the whole show right there. I also think that probably the most interesting shot and like probably iconic shot of this whole season was seeing Dany walk and you see the dragon behind her and you see the dragon wings.
Yeah.
That was a cool, like the angel of death.
The Maleficent kind of.
Yeah. That was a cool shot. Yeah. I felt like this show almost had too much style over
substance.
Yes. I also felt like it had too much tell and not show. This whole season was always telling you something, but not showing you anything.
Yeah, how it got
which is not Game of Thrones.
No.
Game of Thrones shows you. They don't have exposition after exposition, and that's what's so great. There was nuance. This season lacked nuance. But I don't want to get into that just yet. I also did like Sansa becoming Queen of the North and them succeeding from the 7 realms. So now there's only 6 realms, and she's like, fuck you guys, we're on our own. And I thought that was kind of cool. It's interesting that nobody else decided to leave.
And everyone else just let it go, like, okay, fine.
Well, here's why I think it's odd. It's her brother who's who's now the king. So why would she want to succeed? But she did it anyway, because the North doesn't need them. In the North, the Northerners don't want to bend the knee. So they're on her own now. But it's interesting. Nobody else was like, well, if they are, maybe we will. Everybody else was just like, all right.
That's what I mean. Everyone's kind of like, okay.
So really, Sansa became the Queen of the North, and I think that's kind of cool. I think she's she should have been the person at the very end if it wasn't going to be Jon, not Bran. I did like that. I did like Tyrion's new council. It was kind of cool that you got people. We all came.
Random.
It was kind of like jokey a little bit.
It was too much. To me, it was like not Game of Thrones. It was too like
nice.
Seinfeld-y, like at the end.
Yeah, you like that meme I sent you?
Yes, it was very much that. Like, very much kind of like just like
the spin-off.
4 of them locked in a cell somewhere,
making jokes,
just making jokes at each other.
I mean, it's kind of cool, but at the same time, I get it. It wasn't Game of Thrones. I also did like the fact
the people that were in it were kind of like one of the like Bryon made no sense. Like I don't know, Bryon magically is now part of a council and he's like master of coin.
Well, I mean, he was manipulation with he did owe a lot of debts.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seemed weird.
It did. It seemed
like
forced.
A quick.
It seemed forced.
Like we need to tell everyone where everyone was, where everyone ends up.
Right. I did like the throne being melted. I did like that because metaphorically, Dany did break the wheel.
I thought it was too kitschy.
What do you mean by kitschy?
Like, oh, well, since Dany can't have it, Drogon just assumes, okay, so she can't have it, no one can.
Right. Drogon could not burn Jon because of dragon blood. He's not going to burn his own. So I think it either, I see it 2 ways. It could go 2 ways, right? It could go, the dragon thought exactly what you said, or you can also take it as he was frustrated, his mother died, I can't kill you because we're connected, and he just lets out the fire above him, and the throne just happens to be there.
Yeah,
I guess you can take it 2 different ways.
That's too like.
So technically,
oh well, he happens to light the throne up and melt
Dany
the throne
did
down.
break the wheel, metaphorically, because now the kings are going to be picked. Democracy is going to pick the king, and not lineage or whatever.
A water bottle.
A new democracy in Westeros.
Maybe they give a water bottle a vote too.
Maybe I did see that.
The water bottle of doom.
Yeah, that's all the things I really liked about the episode. Those are the things I like. I mean, is there anything you liked that I didn't mention, or anything?
I really liked the Westworld promo that was before the show.
I haven't watched Westworld, so
yeah, it was really good. Logan Paul. It's all set in the future.
Logan Paul.
No.
Isn't he a YouTube star?
No, the guy from
YouTube star.
Breaking Bad. I always say his name wrong. The kid from Breaking Bad, not
Aaron Paul.
Aaron Paul. That's what I'm thinking of.
Logan Paul. I'm like, what? This show's went downhill.
Yeah,
they're getting YouTube stars.
No, Aaron Paul.
I saw a dead guy in the forest. I got kicked off of YouTube. Now I'm in Westworld.
But anyway, so yeah, Aaron Paul.
No, let's be serious now. What did you like about the show?
I did like that. That was part I liked.
It wasn't part of the show, though.
Well, it was right before the show. Like you said, I like the Tyrion part. I like the Tyrion, like standing up to Dany part, throwing off the hand thing.
Yeah.
Down the stairs.
I thought he was gonna be done right there.
No, I kind of figured he was gonna be alive the whole time.
It was very too safe.
Yeah.
Some of these scenes
that
normally would not have been safe 4 seasons ago.
Yeah.
Well, what did you like? You like that? What else? Is that it?
I think that's about it.
All right. Okay. Here, put a pin in that. Maybe you'll think of something. Let's go down.
Well, you covered a lot of things I liked, so that's why I don't rehash them over again.
That's fine. I'd rather not rehash. If you liked all those things as well, that's fine.
Yeah.
All right. I don't want to be too negative. I think it was overall one of the, not the greatest episode, but overall it wasn't the worst, but
it was up there.
It was somewhere in the middle for me.
It was very up there with worst finales ever.
Well, yeah, I agree on that part. I do.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get into stuff we didn't like. I don't want to jump. I kind of want to go in order. I don't want to jump to the end here.
I didn't like how, like you were just saying, the Tyrion thing. I didn't like how all of a sudden Dany, who's been kill first, ask questions later.
Yes.
All of a sudden, with Tyrion was like, "Oh, lock him up." Then never went back and went to go find him to do anything about it. Like just left him in a cell.
Yeah.
It was like, why does he get a chance?
And she did say, "Next time you mess up, you're dead."
And she's like, "All right, just put him in a cell."
And what's his name? He didn't have any time. They grabbed him and fried him.
And the second part of that is, why is like Grey Worm's character in a span of a day and a half go from being, empathetic soldier, like
well, he went
wanting
from
to help,
bloodthirsty.
wanted to be wanted to liberate the world and make everything right, to all of a sudden just captures people and just kills them instantly, just because Danny said so.
All right, let's go into that, because that's one of my dislikes. So this scene, yet again, it shows how rushed the season was.
Like, they went from being like a liberating army to all of a sudden being like
a bloodthirsty army. What Grey Worms
Nazis,
already were,
basically.
But here's the scene. This okay. Picture, if you will. Everybody knows what. Everybody who's listening saw the episode, obviously. Grey Worm. They're killing soldiers that are on their knees, unarmed. Jon Snow walks through, and he basically says, "They're unarmed. Why are you doing this?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "Basically, we don't give a fuck."
Danny said so.
And Jon's like, "I can't believe this is happening." He
Let
walks
me go
away.
talk to Danny, and
He slits the guy's throat, right?
yeah, just goes down the line.
Right. So he goes to talk to
It was
Danny.
very a la like World War II type.
Yes.
Nazis
We're just taking orders,
killing people just to kill people.
Right. But here,
Which is kind of strange.
Here's why I think this. I'm gonna go fanfic here.
I went even before that. My interpretation of it was, or my thing would be like, if we're watching Rise of Skywalker, Poe Dameron is a resistance fighter.
Yeah.
And those guys are resistance fighters. All of a sudden, they capture stormtroopers after they've beaten the First Order.
Yeah.
And they just start
killing them,
randomly killing First Order stormtroopers.
Yeah, that's the whole point of.
But it's like that's like. What? No, that's not how the character.
Yeah, but we just saw Danny fry a whole.
But her going is one thing. But
he was
everyone that was with her all of a sudden just magically turns into.
We talked about that last week.
Bad guys.
He did that as well. Remember, he threw his sword right in a guy's back, unarmed. He started.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But just a continuation of that same theory.
Right. They're all bloodthirsty.
If one person goes, that's one thing. But how does the whole band of them just all of a sudden
they're all killers. They're all killers to begin with.
And they turn to stormtroopers, and they're all standing there with the Emperor.
Yes.
It just was weird.
But hear me out. This is how it should have played out. Jon walks away. He kills them.
Jon
right?
should have killed the Grey Worm.
No.
Oh.
Jon goes. He has this thing with Danny. He kills Danny. Grey Worm would be the first one to see it. Jon and Grey Worm fight.
How do you even know that? Because they did the stupid thing where they'd flash forward.
No.
And how do they even know
You're
that?
not hearing me out, though. It should never have, Danny should not have been taken away by the dragon and then all of a sudden cut to black. It should have went like this. She should have been heavily armed. Why was she there by herself?
When she was being walked around with the army a scene ago.
So
she's like, "Oh, you guys go ahead and take off. I'm going to go up to this throne room by myself."
Here's the way I picture it. Jon walks in. They have their confrontation. She's got guards everywhere.
Yeah.
Because he knows he can only get close to her. He just had the motivational.
They wouldn't have any weapons on him if there was soldiers around. They would earlier.
He walked right in with his dagger.
Earlier in the episode, they did the thing where he took all of his stuff when he went to see Tyrion.
Yeah, but she's not. She's thinking all about the.
Yeah.
We can't rewrite it, but just hear me out. This is how I envision it. He's got the dagger. He knows what he has to do after talking to Tyrion. He walks in. He says, "The only way I'm going to kill her if I get close to her." They have the same dialogue, but there's guards.
Yeah.
He goes, "You're my queen. I love you."
Yeah.
Just like he says. He slips it right in her.
That's dagger.
The dagger.
Not anything else.
She falls down. The guards all surround him. Grey Worm walks in. I would have loved it if we went two ways with this. We would have went to trial by death, where you have to get your own, like we did in season 1 or 2.
With the mountain and all that.
Right. Yeah. Or Grey Worm's like, fuck that. Me and you are fighting.
Yeah.
And Jon has a beatdown fight with Grey Worm.
Yeah.
That would have been great. And it was just so anticlimactic, that death.
Yeah, it was just kind of just like...
And Jon had to admit the death.
It wasn't anticlimactic, but it was just if she was going to die. We knew she was going to die.
That's what I'm saying. I wasn't surprised.
But
I wasn't
the whole thing of
there was no impact on that death.
The way they went about it is that Jon just walked back down and went, "Hey, I just killed Danny."
Right. And they didn't kill him? You killed our queen, and we're going to put you in prison?
We'll just lock you in a room somewhere.
They literally have been slaughtering millions.
Yes.
And you're going to tell me they are going to stop and not kill he's rightfully belongs on that chair?
Yes.
They're going to kill him.
Yeah. Or how do they even know that he killed her? That was unless he
He
told
had
them.
to admit.
That's what I'm saying, because it's like
It's Jon Snow.
There's no other way, because Drogon flew off with her.
Right.
All it was just a puddle of blood. They could have been like, "Oh, Drogon."
This
ate
is
her.
why I think there should have been guards there
Yeah,
to actually witness it.
Yeah.
Because literally nobody saw it happen.
that was this whole season. It's just like, here's how things happened, not how we got there, but here's how things happened.
Yes.
There's a whole lot of solutions, not enough story.
Also, it would have been fantastic if
The other thing
he killed her. He
Yeah.
got in the dragon took her away. The episode ended, and we waited till next week to have this. What happened? What happened?
Yeah.
And come to find out, John was in prison for weeks
Yeah.
because that time jump really messed. I was like, wait a minute.
No, they
Is
could have
this
easily
literally
put
happening?
that first part of the episode on the end of last week's episode, and then did the rest of this episode next week or this week. Then it would have made more sense. It would have been more poignant.
Do you think they should
you'd
have
have
put
had-
the 5 weeks later up because
Like 5 years later,
Endgame?
Endgame.
Maybe 5 weeks later because
or something. It was just
Because
like,
there's a beard. He
Yeah.
just grew a beard.
they all just look straggly and unfed.
And I was like, is
And
this
everyone from Westeros appeared, and it was nice and clean. Like everything had been cleaned up.
sort of? It was still like
They were
it
in
was
that
phase
No, they're in that stadium where they had the.
that was destroyed.
Yeah.
But they have this little
No,
area.
but they had that earlier in the
Right.
last season where they brought the white to Cersei to show her the dead.
Yeah, which was
alive.
destroyed,
Yeah.
but they just have that little area. But it would have what would have it killed them to put words up that just said 5 weeks later?
Yeah.
Or just something. Like I don't know. It felt just disjointed,
A
too
lot of
rushed.
Just to get this over with. We need to get the show off the air so we can get ready for Star Wars.
Pretty much.
The other thing I hated was Arya all of a sudden went from assassin, like ready to kill Dany, to, you know what I want to become? I want to be Dora the Explorer and run around on a boat.
I would say
Just hang
Christopher
out.
Columbus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just going to become an explorer, put down my needle, and pick up a telescope.
Right.
Huh?
She picked the weirdest time to be like,
I'm going to go sail the seven seas, looking for what's out west.
it would have been cool if she used her face off
Yeah.
thing at least once this season. Not
Yeah.
once did we
Not
get
once
that.
did you get any of it. And it's like the one thing now thinking about it, the one thing I did enjoy was the fact that if you really look into it and think about it, Bran's been the one scheming the most out of anyone in this whole series.
I disagree.
Because he literally knew how this is going to end
No.
as soon as he became Three-Eyed Raven.
So we do not have when he became Three-Eyed Raven, he would get information, but he would have to figure it out. It wasn't a clear cut. He wasn't Doctor
But I
Strange.
think by the time we got to the Battle of Winterfell, he knew how it was going to end.
Maybe.
I think that's why the Night King wanted to kill him.
But the
'Cause
funny
White
thing
King
is-
knew he would become king.
3 or 2 episodes ago, he said, "I'm not fit to be anything."
Well, I know, but I think he knew that he was going to be king.
Oh yeah, at that point,
And
at
that's why the
end,
Night King wanted to kill him, because he knew he would become king.
maybe. I don't really know.
Because they're connected. Because he had done that touch thing. And
Yeah.
when he touched him, I think he saw that he was going to become king of...
But what would that matter? Those guys were unstoppable, other than Dragonglass.
Yeah.
And he
but if
never
they
took over a
didn't-
dragon, so what
But
does
if
it matter?
they had killed him, the story would have
And?
ended differently. Or they might not have... They might not have won.
Arya killed him, though.
Yeah, because I think he was expecting that. That was the thing.
Well, I think he knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, well, Bran did.
Brandon.
Yeah.
Right. I also didn't like the fact that
And knowing that
army
Bran
kept-
just sent his brother down there to have this all happen, and let Arya and Jon just go down there, knowing all this was going to happen.
I don't think he knew exactly. That's not how his powers work. We've never been told how it works. I think he gets flashes.
I think he had an idea because he wouldn't just. Why would he just randomly just accept being king?
No, because he's Bran.
The person that had no intention of anything, and just all of a sudden, like the Three-Eyed Raven's now king of. The
I would
kingdom.
say the person with the least character development became king.
Yes.
And I will put a positive spin on this. It's because he would be the best king, because he would always kind of know what's going to happen.
He's also secondly the worst king because he's in a wheelchair and he can't really defend himself.
He doesn't need to. He surrounds himself. No king has to defend themselves.
No, but I'm saying
they have
it's
an
not like
army.
he's got
Like, come on now. That's why you're king, because you don't have to defend yourself.
So he went from the Iron Throne to the Wooden Throne.
Yeah, Bryon the Broken.
Brand, worst name ever.
I didn't like the fact that the army of the Unsullied and the Dothraki seemed to get bigger.
Yes.
Like
more people showed up.
Right. Where the hell did they come from?
They become like I said, they were like stormtroopers. Like they were like cloned.
They were
just got
depleted
clone troopers.
in the third episode.
The Dothraki all like basically died.
We thought
in
that
the White Walker.
But come
battle.
to find out, there was like
there was a whole like 4,000 squadrons of them just hanging out, waiting to go into the battles.
And what happened to the Dothraki? Did they all just become citizens of Flea Bottom? Like,
yeah,
like they're barbarians.
Yeah.
So are they part of civilization now? Like,
yeah, they're just part of the group now.
Because they don't like to go on boats.
No,
but Danny helped them fight that fear.
Yeah, and now they just hopped on boats and went off with the Unsullied too.
No, the Unsullied went to Masunde's island.
Yes,
but in the last scene when they show the ships, it shows Dothraki walking around joking it up.
Yeah, they're just hanging out.
What?
They're just part of the normal.
This is weird. Like this is bizarro world.
Yeah.
What else?
And of all things that still exist, the Night Watch still exists.
Thank you. Yes,
but there's no reason for the Night Watch whatsoever.
And
basically, all it is a prison now.
Right, with a gigantic gaping hole in the wall.
Yeah, what are they watching? The big hole and see who walks through it?
Yes, they just fix the wall and then they do nothing?
What's the point of the wall at this point?
Nothing? I was kind of disappointed by that. I was disappointed by the fact that they put Jon back to the wall, but he goes through the wall with the wire.
He goes off
free
to
folk.
the wildlings.
Yes, and I think that makes him free.
Yes.
And I think it was tongue-in-cheek when he's like, you're going to have 10 years at the wall, wink, wink, knowing that when you get to the wall...
You just walk through it and go off with Drummond.
Right.
But I mean, he's still at the wall, but he's still not, like, in the world.
I hope they didn't pick Bran because we didn't see it coming. Because honestly, I think Jon would have been... People say it could have been a boring choice, but I think it's a choice everybody kind of wanted. And it would have...
It's just the one that made sense. So they wanted to do something that wouldn't make sense.
But it felt like Jon...
But I think also...
would have fulfilled everybody's...
I think also they didn't want to give away how the book ends. So they had to, like, change it to make it not
I have
the same.
a feeling Jar Jar Binks, our Martin there, whatever his name is, if these books ever come out, he told them how it's going to end, and I think I bet you anything,
Bran's going to be the one that becomes king at the end.
He could be. He could be.
No,
Bran's more of a fleshed out character in the book.
I think
he's just not a fleshed out character in the show.
Yeah, I just think like it's just.
I bet you anything, Bran will become when these books come out.
No, but I'm saying I don't think that's how it all happens. I think there's something else that happens.
Yes,
or more that happens in the books. But I also think like Jon's character, something happens to Jon's character, because like we've always said, and we've had this discussion about Walking Dead and all these other shows. The TV shows are more held to who plays the characters than in a book. You can just do anything you want to a character. But in the TV show, killing off a Kit Harington is a little bit more difficult than killing off Jon Snow in the book.
I think Game of Thrones it prided itself on not falling into tropes, and people could die. And they've killed major characters off.
Oh, I know, but I'm saying I think just at this point...
Unlike Walking Dead became so predictable.
But at this point, though, I think if they ended the series and Jon Snow wasn't alive in it...
That would have been crazy.
It would have been crazy, but people would like, really?
I don't think so.
You killed off Jon Snow. What do you want Jon Snow for?
Obviously.
Or Tyrion magically survives, even though that there's
I don't think...
And all of a
they
sudden,
made Bran king. I don't think they care.
But the only reason they made Bran king is because Tyrion came up with this like speech that convinced all these people that he's trying to get to stay alive for, or trying to convince to not kill him.
Which is another thing I didn't like.
All of a sudden, he gives off like, you know what, guys, we all should back Bran.
Yes,
because he's the one that got all our stories. Because the reason for being king is he's got the best stories.
So Grey Worm yet again went from stone cold killer to imprisoning two people, and said Tyrion is not going to talk.
Yeah,
and he goes, "Yeah, you're right. My words mean nothing." And then he goes into this 5-minute speech,
long speech about who should be king.
So the prisoner, a war prisoner, decided
who should be king.
The king of Westeros,
and everyone else is like,
in the Six Realms.
You know what? That imp has a pretty decent idea. We should go with it.
Right. And on top of that, they're going to let Jon Snow go because they're going to send him to the wall for 10 years.
Yeah.
And people have done worse, and they had to fight for their lives. Tyrion had to get a fighter,
The Dorne, guy from Dorne.
to live.
Yeah.
I mean, but he killed the queen. It's 10 years at the wall to do nothing. It's
Well, the rest of
weird.
your life at the wall, basically.
So bizarre. You know what? It almost forgot its own rules.
It did. It totally just
It
like
forgot its own rules.
it's like we just need to wrap this stuff up. We need to get this stuff figured out. And like another thing where all of a sudden they're like, has anyone heard anything about Drogon? And the guy was like, oh, last we heard of him was he was in Mississippi, burning up some horses or something.
Mississippi?
I don't know. He said wherever it was. But then Bran's like, oh, well, I'll go find him. It's like, okay, what are you going to do?
Well,
Your crow's going to talk to the dragon and be like, you know what, dragon? We know your mom died, but we really think you should come back and be a part of our family.
he needs to keep tabs on the dragon because the dragon is basically a highly sophisticated weapon of war. I mean,
Yeah, but who's going to just capture the dragon?
Bran, that would have been cool if he could have ward into the
Yes,
dragon.
he could have. But
Maybe he
that was
can.
the thing is
they never answered that question.
No, they kind of just left it. He just rolled away. With Sir Podrick.
I like Podge. I'm happy he survived. Yeah. So here's questions. Here's my WTF moments.
Okay.
What the fuck happened to that white horse Arya was riding last day?
Yeah, what was that all about?
She took
It's
off.
just a random horse, and then
She
that
took
didn't mean
off,
anything. It
and
didn't mean
then
anything.
she was still in the city walking around. And I'm like,
she dropped the horse. She just lost the horse somehow.
yet again, it's style over substance.
Yeah.
It was a style. It was beautifully shot.
Yeah.
I love this scene. But then you come into the next episode and she's just walking around. And you're like,
Yeah.
so did you just not?
And she's walking by the Dothraki and everything. And
Right.
everyone's and she got all the way up to the top step of the thing, and no one was like, "Hey, random person."
Well, she's a ninja.
But still,
I know.
Then she's just standing there having a conversation with John, and no one else said anything. Everyone's just like, "Oh, ho hum." John's talking to this random girl.
Yet again, it's style over substance.
Yes, exactly.
I also said, why didn't we get a fight between Jon and Grey Worm? Which I think, no matter what, that would have been a great fight.
Yeah. I mean, it would have meant the end of Grey Worm. But,
Right, but that would have been cool to see, I thought.
But then no one would have taken this Unsullied away.
We talked about this. Who the fuck knew that Jon killed the queen? Jon must have turned himself
Yes.
in. Why did the army get bigger? We talked about that.
Yeah.
Why did Jon go to the wall? We
Yes.
talked about that. What happened to the Dothraki? We talked about that. So
Yeah.
those are my WTFs, and we already hit upon them all. Here's my what if. This season should have been half a season leading up to the king of
Night King?
the Night King, right? And then it should have been half a season. It should have been 10 episodes. Episode 5 should have been the battle. Episode 6, 7, 8 could have been a really good aftermath, and Dany slowly going mad. End of season. The next season should have been Dany still really nuancing her character of her hitting that switch.
Spiral into madness.
Right. We only hear people say, she's going crazy, but we don't see it. We just hear people saying, there's
Well, we
something
did see
wrong.
her go crazy. She burnt the whole city down.
But it wasn't earned. We didn't see it happen.
It was
literally a matter of 2 episodes. She just
the one
went
thing
crazy.
about that, the way you rewatch it, because I saw the recap thing right before and all that, and the whole thing of Tyrion saying, if they ring the bells, don't, that's the town, the people surrendering and everything. I think in her mind, the whole thing was it snapped in her. She was like, I can't let these people survive. These people are not truthful. They're not really surrendering. In her head, I'm saying, she's thinking all this.
I get that, but
So I think it was just an instant thing of, I need to avenge my best friend was just killed. And
it was too rushed.
Yeah.
It would have been better if we went onto a journey with her slowly descending. It went from episode
I also think people are looking way too
4
much into it, too. at the
to
same
episode
time.
5.
And you can't also...
It was rushed.
Yeah. I mean, we knew it was going to be rushed. It's 6 episodes.
Yes, but I'm saying if we could redo it, it should have been at least 1 season or so of her actually becoming queen and going crazy. And then wanting to just destroy everything. Also, why didn't she just go to the Red Keep? She could have just went to the Red Keep and killed Cersei. And she didn't even kill Cersei. I mean, the rubble.
She took everybody inside King's Landing as an enemy, basically, at that point.
She left all the important people just to stand and watch. But I felt like this season could have been two good, well thought out.
Could have been, but
seasons.
they had to wrap it up, so they wrapped it up. And then everyone canceled their HBO service after that.
It also would have been really cool if we actually saw Dany become queen, and we actually saw that for a couple episodes, and see how she was like destroying things. You okay over there?
Yeah.
You're falling asleep.
Nope, I'm good.
You're falling asleep.
Nope.
It's noon. What time did you go to bed last night?
I went to bed around 2.
2?
Yeah.
What are you doing till 2 o'clock in the morning?
Watching television.
And you can't go to Godzilla on next Thursday?
No, I gotta be up at I gotta be to Hartford for jury duty at 8:15 in the morning.
Well, you might not even have to go.
Yeah, if I don't have to go, then I'll go. But
Oh, also, it would have been great if we actually saw a bigger debate on Bran becoming king.
Or that would have been because just Sam just is like, yeah,
right.
That sounds great.
How cool would it have been if they actually spent a good half an hour? I would have loved it.
The funniest part of the whole thing was Claire says to me,
it was too cut and dry.
Not even that, but the first guy that stood up and said, I should be king.
That was the uncle. He was imprisoned.
Who's that guy?
That was the uncle.
Where did he come from?
That was the uncle.
Yeah.
He was imprisoned.
Yeah.
He's not going to be nothing. He was basically saying, I should be.
But Claire's like, I don't even remember who that guy is. It's a random character just thrown in there.
No, he was somebody.
But then it was just, I knew he was, but it was just like one of those things where it's like a random person shows up.
But
because there's no explanation about how he got out or why he was released or what was going on there. Just like all of a sudden, these people are all just showed up in Westeros. Like the Doran people were there, and the guy who screwed Arya was there, and all these other people just magically showed up. And why does Davos and Brienne have any say in anything?
Well, Davos said that. He goes, I don't know if I have a say in this, but I vote for him.
Yeah, but it was just kind of like a random...
Right. It would have been great.
Here's where all these characters that were in the episodes are where they all are and where all the different lands are.
Yeah.
So
yet again, this could have been a great couple episodes.
It wasn't though. So you just got to deal with what we had.
I'm playing the what if game, Mark.
Well, there's no what ifs.
I'm telling you.
This is how it happens.
Excuse me. I just burped in Edward's ear. I just woke you up.
Wow.
I'm playing the what if game. I mean,
you can what if all you want, but it's over and done with now.
Clearly, I know this. Our podcast, we're talking about the what ifs.
Yes, I know.
I'm saying it would have made better television.
Yeah.
It was too cut and dry for my taste because they didn't know who Bran was. What if I never watched
the show? That's what I wonder.
They never even know who Bran is and why they should trust him.
No, exactly. It's just all these random people. Just, okay. If they
you picked the crippled? Sure, okay.
Yeah, sure.
He can't do anything.
We'll pick the broken guy. Why not?
I would say my favorite episode...
He does all of our stories.
My favorite episode is episode 2, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, because I think that's truly, in my opinion, the last time we got to enjoy these characters before a big battle, and we got to see them commiserating before their ultimate demise. And I think...
That's the one they make Brienne the Knight and everything.
Right. And I thought it was an amazing episode, and it
was a decent episode. It wasn't a great episode.
In the context of this season... I would argue it's the best episode of the season. For me, because it was just so nice to be with these characters and actually hear them talk and make sense. And then all of a sudden, everybody just changed for no reason.
Well, the war changes you like that, you know?
Yeah, Jaime's like, fuck you, I gotta go home and be with my sister. Yes. And I don't know. It was
just a weird thing all around.
I will still say... Still one of the best shows on television. It just didn't stick the landing.
Yeah.
Not a lot of shows do. This happened to be a whole season of that.
Yes, exactly.
So that makes
But then again, it's not the only show that's ever had that happen before.
Right, and this goes into our final topic of today.
Scrubs had a whole season where it was not anything like it should have been.
Right, and The Office. Those last 2 seasons could have been lopped right off.
Yes.
Give us The Wedding of Dwight and Angela.
Yes.
Easy peasy, my friend.
Michael leaves. That's when the show ends.
Exactly. It overstayed its welcome. Still one of my favorite shows of all time.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones. It doesn't take away what an amazing fucking show it is.
Yes.
But it was just a bad last season. And maybe in 10 years, 20 years, we can look back and maybe it's not that bad anymore because another
5 weeks, 20 weeks, it might be
another
different.
show would have already come out and had a bad ending, and we're all looking back going, well, maybe it wasn't as bad as we thought.
Yes.
So I asked Mark to give me his 5 favorite
MASH
season finales, and he said MASH 5 times, and then I slapped him in the face 5 times, and now his eye is swollen forever.
It is.
So let's just go back and forth. I'll give you mine, you give yours. I'll start off. I will say I'm going to start from the longest to the closest in time for me. I would say Seinfeld. Now, it has gotten better with time. I hate it.
Because it was banned. It was like panned as bad as this was.
It wasn't banned. It was
But it was
panned.
like panned as much as this one was.
Right. Totally agree.
When it first happened.
Over time, I watched Seinfeld so many times I can't even count.
Well, per the requirements of your discussion, Bryon. No, I was kidding.
No, the season finale.
When you first watched it is what your opinion should be.
No, when I first watched,
you watched after the fact.
I never said that. When I watched the season finale of Seinfeld when it first was on, you get an hour of like the highlights. Then you watch the season finale. It was just more highlights.
Yes.
And they go to jail, and you're like, I can't believe my favorite characters went to jail. And as I've rewatched this season a million times.
Yes, and heard Seinfeld talk about it a million times.
No, he's never talked about the season finale.
I've heard him talk about it.
I've never heard him talk about it.
You need to get up.
I've heard Larry David talk about it.
You need to watch more television.
Larry David has said how, he'll never do an ending again, and I don't blame him. But you realize, when I was a teenager, I didn't get this, and as an adult, I get it now. All these characters were assholes, and they're lovable assholes, but they were from New York.
Very good human beings.
They were from New York. They were self-righteous. They were selfish, and when they end up at, I think it was Massachusetts, they actually see someone get mugged, and instead of helping them, they laugh at them because they're from New York and they see it all the time. They don't give a shit, and they're making fun of the guy.
Yeah.
So they go to jail because they didn't help. They were bystanders and they didn't help. It was convoluted. It was all right, but I've seen.
Excuse get all the people that were in the episodes.
Right. As with time, I appreciate it because I get it now, and I like the fact that it ends with the very first conversation they have in the Seinfeld Chronicles about the button, about the top button, and it was a callback all the way to that, and it slowly pans out, and it's very downer. And now that I'm like, oh, I get it, and actually, I get why they're in jail. And I'm fine with that. And it's grown over me. It's grown in time for me. And yes, it's not one of the best, but I would say it's one of my favorites.
Mine in no particular order. ER was one of my favorite shows. I used to watch. My mom used to watch all the time, and I got roped into watching it with her.
Yeah.
And it was so well done. The death of Mark Edwards' character, Mark Edwards, when like they played the song "Somewhere Over the Rainbow," and he died of like a brain tumor and everything.
Oh, spoiler!
And that was in that final season, but it wasn't the final episode. But the very final episode, it like goes in time, like forward in time, and his daughter is coming to do an interview, to be interviewed to work at the hospital that her dad worked at, and that's how the series ends. And it shows like where everyone ended up and everything and all that. And it was nicely well wrapped up and
Game of Thrones style.
More sense than Game of Thrones style. It wasn't like people just walked away and that was the end of the show. They actually like showed like Noah Wiley's character was doing this at this point. And this person was there, that person was there. And kind of like put everyone where they were supposed to be. That's cool. See, sometimes you just want a predictable, sweet ending. Yes, I just want to know where my characters that I was watching for all this time, how they actually end up. That's all I want. I don't want no like ambiguous ending where someone goes off on a boat this way, someone sits in a chair this way, someone gets rolled into a corner this way, and someone just rides off on a horse that direction. Well, Mark. Take notes. You might have just described my next season finale. I'm going to list you.
Last summer, I watched all of The Sopranos. This is the summer of Sopranos.
I watched all that when it originally aired. I watched Sopranos.
Now, I knew in 2007, I was working at Stafford Motor Speedway. I was editing. And when that finale happened on the news network, talked about all fucking day.
It was.
And people hated it. Now, I knew what was going to happen.
Yes.
Didn't know how I was going to get there, but I knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
All I knew, the screen cuts to black.
It does. You didn't know where and when and how.
Me and Allison watched it. She didn't know what the ending was going to be.
Yes.
I turned to her and I said, "What'd you think about that?" And she goes, "That's not that bad." And I said,
"No,
it's not bad at all. It's genius.
It's a genius way of doing it because with that show, back when I watched it, it's not in my top 5 because you had already picked it, so I didn't add it into mine. But when you saw it happen originally, there was no other way they could have actually ended that show. Like, if you think about it, like, if you had done, like, how this person went here, how that kind of scenario, it would have just been...
Well, half of everybody is dead.
Yes.
And you care about the family unit. And the unit was actually... Everything was going good. Yeah, you had the son finally doing something with his life. The daughter's she's doing something with her life.
Yeah.
They're going out to dinner. Now... Why it's ambiguous.
Because they have this scene where she's walking up to the door.
But they keep cutting between. So this guy's sitting at the counter.
Yeah.
And
I think it's like people have said like it could have been FBI agents.
No, he could have been
no,
part
I'm
of
saying that it's like
another
the
mafia
theories that people have come up with.
Yeah.
Like it could have been the FBI coming to arrest Tony. It could have been like different mobs.
It was another mob
coming to attack Tony.
Yeah. So in the bathroom, which we've seen in previous episodes and in mafia movies, they will hide the gun in the
toilet bowl.
In the toilet bowl or up behind a paper dispenser or something. And this guy was wearing a jacket that supposedly could have been from another faction, another mob.
Yes.
Now, the tension is well done because it's cutting between the family, this guy going to the bathroom, and then with their daughter trying to park, parallel park. Yeah, Meadow. And you know, she finally gets in there, and Tony and the guy goes to the bathroom, and they're ordering food, and they're
Tony
laughing.
Gives him a look as he walks to the bathroom,
and then all of a sudden she goes, and they're like, "Where's Meadow?" and blah blah blah, and she finally opens her, "Hey, I'm here," and then cut to black.
Yeah,
and you're like, but that's fine because I don't want to see Tony gunned down.
Well, I don't want to even say anything. Well, if you go back and watch, she doesn't even say anything. You get the scene where she's walking up to the restaurant.
Well, she walks into the door.
And she opens the door, and then they cut to Tony.
And then it cuts to black.
And he smiles, and that's when it cuts to black.
Right.
But they don't, there could have been someone shooting him in the back of the head right after that.
Right.
It could have been something else happening.
Right.
They kind of just left it at that's like...
Or nothing. They could have had their dinner, and...
But other people, the theories, it's just it leaves you up to your own theory.
And I like that.
Come up with your own ending, basically.
And
because people have said that was the last thing Tony saw. That's why he was smiling. He sees his daughter.
Right.
That was and then he cuts the black because he dies.
Right. Totally. And the creator of the show said, he got all these angry emails saying, "Why didn't we see Tony die?" And he goes, "How sadistic are you? I'm not going to show you Tony dying."
Yeah.
He's like, "You want to see Tony die in front of his family?" He's like, "That's sick."
Yeah.
And he would go on. We watched this whole documentary afterwards, and he was just like, "I couldn't believe the angry emails saying, why didn't we see Tony die?" And he goes, "I would not show you that." He was like, "That's disgusting to me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give you that." And I think he was very smart, and I think it was a fantastic ending. And I went into that with an open mind because I heard all the hate in 2007.
Yeah.
And then seeing it, I was just like, no, that was great.
Yeah.
It was really great. All right, Mark.
My next one was, let me look at my thing here. Parks and Rec.
Which is funny. I just saw that this morning.
The final finale?
The finale was on, it's on reruns on FX every morning.
Or something, yeah. But it was great how they did the time jump, and she was now I think she was a senator. Because they talked about her running for Senate at the end of that final season.
I thought she became president.
Was it president or
I think
something?
It's so
I can't remember
long
what it was.
ago.
But she ran for a political office of some sort. But she was doing the Senate thing and all that, and then it cuts to forward in time, and
It keeps going forward and forward. Yeah. It was a very sweet ending.
it was a very sweet, like, for that show. It was very nicely like done and put together, and I liked that. I liked how they did that show. I don't remember exactly how it all happened, but I remember thinking that was a very good ending.
It was a good ending.
But now they're talking about bringing it back, so there you go.
Why?
That's actually what they're talking about doing.
Who?
They want to bring it back and do a reunion show.
Yeah, but is it a rumor, or they actually want
No, Polar's talked about it. They've talked to the people who are all into doing it.
All right, going into my next one, I would say we'll go this way. For me, one of my favorite endings is Lost. A very divisive ending. People loved it or hated it, just like Game of Thrones. I really haven't met anybody who loved the ending.
Yes.
But Lost, there was a divide. You had people who loved it, and you had people who hated it. I was on the love side, and I still do. I haven't rewatched the show to see if my mind had changed. Will change, but from this point on, I will always remember that night, and I remember the image of Jack and the dog, and I bawled my eyes out, and I loved all those characters, and to me, it was a bittersweet ending, and I think a lot of people people who never watched the show and only watched the finale got confused and would constantly say, they were in purgatory the whole time. They were not in purgatory the whole time. Everything happened. The whole show happened. The thing was, they were going to wait for each other.
Yes.
In this place.
In purgatory until
everybody and they all went together because they were like a family.
Yeah.
That was why people got confused.
Yeah.
Everything happened. And at the end, they showed you stills of the island, and people were like, it never happened because you see the wreckage and there's nothing there.
Yeah.
I think that was just saying goodbye to the island. I don't think that was, I think that was an artistic thing. I don't really felt that had any bearing on the
was
storyline.
One of the guys from one of the Game of Thrones guys?
No.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
It was J.J. Abrams who helped create it.
Yeah.
And then it was Charlotte Cruz and Damon Lindelof.
Oh, that's right.
We're the showrunners.
I always get that messed up.
Yeah. All right, Marcus.
My next one was 30 Rock.
Yes, that's a great ending.
Yes. I don't remember much about what actually happened in it.
Then why is it your favorite ending?
But I remember that I liked it. And I remember watching the whole show and loving the whole show.
The whole show is amazing. I love that show.
I don't remember exactly how the ending
So
happened.
how is it your favorite ending if you don't remember?
But I just remember I liked it. I don't have to have a reasoning why I liked it.
Do you want me to tell you the ending?
Sure, go ahead.
You don't remember?
I don't remember. I was thinking about it. I remembered when we had the text, but as of right now, I've totally blanked on what it was.
Oh my God, you're horrible at this. You don't remember what happened.
I remember there was a lunch. Like, that was the name of the episode. It was like Last Lunch or something.
Kenneth?
Yes.
We come to find out Kenneth is God.
Yes, that's right.
And he has the whole thing happened in Snow Globe.
Yes.
Just like the ending of was it Hill Street Blues?
Or something like that, yeah.
Or 30-something, one of those shows.
Yes.
Was it 30-something?
I think it was 30-something.
With the Snow Globe?
Yeah, something like that.
I can't remember.
Yeah, it was one of those weird ones.
It was a Snow Globe, and Kenneth was like, basically, they always played into the fact that Kenneth was like some sort of like
present.
Yes.
Yeah, being.
And at the end, he has a Snow Globe, and the whole thing happened.
That's right. Okay. I remember that now.
How did you pick it? We're not even remembering that.
No, because I remembered the thing.
You're so weird.
I remembered loving the whole show.
I get it.
And the thing was a show that you loved, and then you loved how it ended.
Yeah.
I loved the show. I loved how it ended.
But you didn't bother looking it up before we did the show?
I did, but I didn't do it today.
So you forget all things when you go to bed?
No, yes. We didn't talk. We talked about this like 2 days ago.
You could have looked it up in 2 days?
I had it looked up.
And you forgot it in 2 days?
I forgot. Just now, I blanked on it.
Oh my God! All right, I'm done.
That's why I pushed it back because I had it as my first.
Well, I agree with you. It is a great ending. It was a very good ending.
Yes.
Mine.
Yes.
I would say one of my all-time favorite series, The Leftovers, and I thought the ending was.
I still haven't seen it yet.
Amazing. I'm not going to spoil it.
You can. I'm never going to end up watching it.
The ending. Okay. The ending was ambiguous in a way that the acting was just unbelievable. Finding out she actually went to the other side and she saw her family. And a part of me is like, did it really happen? And it did. And she came back and she came back, and the acting blew me away. Everything about season 3 of that show was absolutely phenomenal. I think it was just beautiful. It was just an amazing show. And I think season 1 deters a lot of people because it's very depressing. But
season 2 deterred more for me.
2 got better, and 3 was freaking phenomenal.
We watched Claire and I remember Claire and I were like all about season 2.
2 was awesome.
And we watched it, and it was like, and we got 2. Then we started to watch. No, we tried to watch season 3 because we'd both talked about how we would like season 2.
Yeah.
So we started watching season 3, and there was a whole thing where they went to Australia, and we just couldn't,
because it takes place in the future.
Yeah, we just couldn't follow it, and then we just stopped watching it
What?
after like the episode or 2, and then we just never got back to watch the rest of it. It's
recommend-
still on the DVR. It's like one of those things. Like, yeah, we'll watch that when we get a chance to.
Dude, season 3.
We just kind of it's.
They should have won all the awards. I don't even know how none of these people were nominated for anything. It's a shame that HBO did not put money behind that show for award season.
They're too busy putting money on the Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Well, it's all about money when it comes to award shows. All right, Mark.
My next one was The Big Bang Theory. It just ended. A show I watched and was like an adamant fan of.
I watched it too. I saw the ending.
And
I
loved
skipped
how they
one
ended
season.
it. Yeah, I skipped a couple here and there episodes. I didn't watch all of them.
Yeah.
They're all basically the same. But after a while. But the ending with them winning Nobel Prize and Sheldon giving that speech about finally like coming to the realization that
for the 40th time.
But like
it was
doing the
sweet.
thing with each one of the people and acknowledging Howard as an astronaut finally.
I know. He acknowledged everybody.
Yeah.
He
And
realized
all that,
it wasn't about getting something, it's about being sharing it with your friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not being a jerk.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which he's learned that lesson multiple times.
But this time I think
it
stuck.
Because it was the end.
It was the last time.
It was the last time.
So it has to stick.
Yeah. I thought it was very sweet.
But also having the thing with Amy, like him like coming to grips with her not being the frumpy girl that she was.
Her being her own person.
Being her own person and all that. I think that like I loved how they did it all. They made it very well done.
Yeah.
12 years. It's amazing that it was on for 12 years. It didn't feel like it's been on that. It felt like it's been on longer, actually.
Well, because of the TBS reruns.
Yes,
it's always on. It's on all the time.
You can see it every moment you want. You can see
pretty
it.
much.
Kind of like How I Met Your Mother used to be, but now it's Bang Bang Theory.
Right. Did you say Bang Bang Theory? Is that
Big Bang
is that the porno version?
Bang Bang Theory.
What is going on?
I don't know.
I did watch it too.
Oh.
And my last one, one of my all-time favorite shows, perfect show in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinion, and an ending that overwhelmingly everybody loved, Breaking Bad. That ending happened the next day. It was universally pretty much loved.
Yeah.
People weren't attacking and wanted to rewrite the ending like they are with Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Well, they want to do the whole season, not just.
I know, which is even crazier. But Breaking Bad to me is by far one of the perfect shows. It doesn't have one bad episode. The acting is superb. Nope.
I've never seen any of them, so I couldn't tell.
I would argue every episode is amazing, well done, well acted, deserving of all the awards. And that ending, they stuck it. And people universally liked it. I'm sure there's a few assholes out there who don't like it, and that's totally fine. But overwhelmingly, people liked it. And that's it. Those are, and I mean,
well, I got mine.
No, for me that's it. But I would say my only honorable thing would be 2 years ago, Twin Peaks season 3, but we're still talking about that. And to me, it doesn't
you got
feel
a whole podcast you could go listen to talk about that.
You can listen to me talk about the podcast.
Yeah.
And
if
I don't
not,
even
they'll
feel,
talk about it again next week when they rehash the whole episode.
I don't even feel like it's an ending.
Or next year when they decide to find some other schmuck to come in and watch all the shows for the first time.
It could be a new beginning.
And then Ben could tell them about stuff, and Bryon could tell them about his opinion on stuff, and the new guy could talk to them about how they see the show. It's going to be great. I can't wait for it.
Yep. That's exactly what we're doing.
Next, we're going to rewatch Happy Days.
Are you?
That'd be a good show. We'll call it Good Times, Fun Times, Happy Days. Podcast.
You could confuse people because Good Times was a show too.
I know. That's what the whole point of it is.
All right. So anyway, what's your last one?
My final one is 6 Feet Under.
Do you actually remember the ending?
I do remember the ending. 30 Rock was the only one I totally forgot about. But 6 Feet Under was one that stuck with me because it was one of those shows where I didn't think I'd get into it.
Yeah.
because the first episode, I think it came on like I don't.
Was it an HBO?
It was HBO. It was when I
show?
first started being able to watch like HBO was like
Your
their
parents
first.
let you?
No, it was their first big like series.
Yeah, it was pretty big, huh?
And it like the series
Weeds,
starts
6
off
Feet Under.
with someone dying, like instantly, like a main character, like the dad gets sideswiped and dies.
Yes.
And that's how the whole series starts.
Yep.
So I was kind of like, what is going on with the show? And then like it just got more crazy and
I heard it's. I gotta watch that.
Yeah,
show.
it's well worth it.
I heard it's a great show.
Yeah, and like Michael C. Hall is in it, and like so many good actors. And yeah, so the ending was really cool because the mother.
Don't ruin it for me. I do want to watch it. Be vague about it.
All right. Well, they wrap up all the storylines of all the people in a very nice way. And
I'm kidding. You can ruin it.
Okay.
I'll forget this whole.
You'll forget
conversation.
anything.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so the way they do it is they show how every character passes away,
Oh well.
and they go
6
through.
Feet Under.
Yeah, so they show like
How
that's
they-
how each person passes.
That's a clever
and
way.
they
of
end
doing
it with like the youngest character showing how she dies,
Wow.
surrounded by all of her family.
Wow.
Like at the very beginning of the episode, the mother of the group of the family passes away with all the main characters surrounding her as she passes, and then it goes to like the different family members passing away and how they die, and then ends with the daughter dying,
Oh wow.
and that's how the series ends.
That's cool.
And
It
was
sounds
just very well
depressing,
done.
but it sounds well
No,
done.
it's very well done. The whole like the acting is like fantastic in it. It's like one of the first shows that had a gay couple in it, so that was like groundbreaking. Like it was back in that time frame. So it was just a very well done show, and one of my favorite shows. It was one of those shows I didn't think I'd ever get into because it's kind of gruesome. It's all about mortuary and funeral home and all that
Yeah, you
stuff.
don't even like horror movies.
It's not the kind of stuff that I'm usually into, but the story was just so well done and the acting was so good that you just get sucked into it and you just can't stop watching it, kind of thing.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah, kind of like now I'm addicted to What We Do in the Shadows, a show I would never think I'd be into.
I gotta
but
watch
randomly
that. It's on my DVR.
I randomly saw the FX had the movie on right before they showed the series, and I'd seen the trailers for the show and it was kind of funny, and I was like, that's kind of funny. So I watched the actual movie of it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is hilarious. And now the episodes of the show are just as hilarious. And I'm like, this is like...
You do know the movie is Waititi, the
Yes,
same guy
that's
who
what
did
made me get into it.
Ragnarok.
Because the guy who did Ragnarok, that's why I saw that, and I kind of was like, oh, well, I gotta check this out.
I gotta watch the show.
Yeah, it's
definitely
worth
check it
it.
out.
It's worth the time and effort.
Yeah, I've heard good things, so I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, and this past episode they did, it was really good. They do a lot of cameos are in it. A lot
It's
of
the season finale.
no, it's before the season finale, but there's a trial.
Okay, don't ruin it.
So-
It's a brand new show.
Yes, but it's worth the
If
effort.
it was 20 years down the line, I
yeah,
wouldn't
but
care.
it's worth the effort. I
want-
would suggest anyone to check it out.
All right,
What we do in the shadows.
will do, Mark.
But yes, so that was all our finales. Honorable mention for me, which I know it's way back, was Cheers. I didn't like how it ended.
You
but I
just
liked
said last week how you hated it.
I did, but I liked the show.
Yes.
I just didn't like the ending of it. But that's an honorable mention of
Okay.
shows that I was into. And
Yeah,
how they
I mean,
ended.
Cheers. I mean, I remember that night Cheers was ending in NBC. It was 2 hours. I mean,
Yes.
it was an hour of goodbyes.
Yes,
and then
they
an
did
hour,
after
episode.
special talking to all the people in the show about how they were in the show and what
Yeah,
they did about the show.
It was like it was
Yeah.
must-watch TV.
yeah.
as they
Another of
used
my
to
honorable
say.
mentions was Sports Night. Aaron Sorkin, it was Aaron Sorkin's first show he did. Mm-hmm. I think it was on ABC at the time.
I don't know.
It was all about
I remember the show. I do.
sports, like an ESPN, like Sports Center kind of show,
Mm-hmm.
but it was all like the behind the scenes of the people that were on the show. And Felicity Huffman was on it, and that's where Felicity Huffman met her husband there. They met on
really?
that show, yeah, and that's when they just hatched their plan to get their daughters into college for free. So, anyways, but no, the way that show ended, it was canceled, and they actually knew it was being canceled, so they went back and made the ending right and everything, and it was like really well done. Ben Vereen was in it. There's a lot of good actors, and that was one of my favorite shows of all time. So I would suggest checking that show out as well. Do you know where to end this show?
I'm trying to find something that would be interesting. Did you see the Jason Momoa?
Yes. Yeah.
He's like, fuck, no. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's like freaking out.
Well, because he's worried that Aquaman will never get another movie.
Aquaman is getting another movie.
I know.
That movie
Who knows
did
why?
very well.
Who knows why?
What do you mean?
They're saying that they're mapping out that Endgame is going to beat Avatar.
Oh, yeah, probably.
They'll finish at $2.8 billion.
Well, no, it already beat Avatar. It has to beat Titanic.
Yes, that's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah, beat Avatar. Well, here.
I think they're saying it's going to be just right over Titanic or whatever.
Well,
But Avatar was the top one.
hold on. Let's double check.
It beat Titanic. Avatar it has to beat.
It beat Titanic. You're right.
Yes. Don't try to tell me what to do.
Box.
I know things.
I know. You're right. I'm wrong. I get confused because that's
It's basically the same.
worldwide. Okay, hold on. We'll go after this. All time. I'm on Box Office Mojo.
Yes.
Worldwide. You're right. So Avatar, as of now, is at...
Well, not as of now. Is at.
Is at...
You gotta get anything to it.
2000...
2 billion.
Yeah, 2 billion. It's 27 billion? Would you say?
2.7 billion.
2.7 billion?
Yes.
And then Endgame is at 2.6.
Yeah. They're saying it's probably about another 200 million that it can make while it's in theaters.
It'll probably beat it. If
Yeah.
it doesn't, I'd be surprised.
They'll say it finished at 2.8 something.
Now, domestically, Endgame is at 777 billion.
Yes.
And A Force Awakens is at 936
Yeah, they're not going to
billion.
beat Force Awakens, but they could beat the international. They'd said
Yes.
it could be the top
could,
international movie.
It could be Avatar, which would be amazing.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
And Disney owns both those properties, so it doesn't really matter.
Disney basically is just in competition with itself at this point.
It is.
Do you find it odd that they saturated the market with live action cartoon adaptions in the matter of 4 months? Why do we need this many? You literally had Dumbo, you had Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins isn't a...
Okay, Dumbo, Aladdin, which comes out this weekend, Dumbo, which came out last month, and then June 21st comes out Lion
Well,
King.
Aladdin got pushed back. Aladdin was supposed to happen last year. Supposed to come out last year.
It doesn't matter. Why do you have 3 of these movies month to month to month?
Because it was redone, and I don't think they really have much stock in Aladdin. They're not really promoting Aladdin as much as they
I know.
really should.
But
Because Aladdin's not good.
Lion King looks good.
Lion King's good. I think they put money in Dumbo and Lion King.
Why did they even
Aladdin
bother?
Just
I don't know. It just seems so weird. Why did they build up? Hey, this summer, Dumbo. Next summer, Aladdin. And then we're going to end it on this whole series of live action cartoons with the big one,
Because it's not
Lion
the end
King.
of the live actions. There's going to be more of them.
What else Mulan?
Bambi.
No, I don't think they're doing Bambi. I think they're doing Mulan. But you could be right. They could do a Bambi.
They're gonna
They've
do
already
anyone
done
they
Jungle
can do.
Book.
They're gonna do
but
anyone
see,
they can do.
They did Jungle Book, and they let us breathe. Now it's just hey, 3 months in a row, enjoy.
They're gonna do them all.
I guess so.
There'll be a
It'd be nice if
Beauty,
they
there'll be a Cinderella. They'll do them all.
Well, they're already kind of
Snow
doing
White.
Snow White.
But an actual Disney Snow White, not like a Huntsman or anything like that. They'll do their own. It's gonna come around.
What's the one with Angela?
That's Maleficent.
Melissa, and that's based off of what?
Sleeping Beauty.
Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah.
And they're doing a sequel to that.
Which is actually, I think, the Sleeping Beauty version of it.
I don't know. I can't
So
keep track.
there's
of
so
what
many.
they're doing.
There's a lot.
They're doing too many things.
Yes. They don't care. They're just making money.
Right. They're just gonna.
They keep doing it until the money stops coming in.
They're gonna squeeze those stones dry.
That's right. End it with a song, Brian. Don't end it with.
What do you want to do?
It's got to be a Game of Thrones tribute song or something that someone's done.
All right, we're gonna end it with another.
Someone put lyrics to the Game of Thrones.
Oh. This is, if I can find it, this would be really funny. Yeah, here we go.
There you go.
And it's funny because it's the Game of Thrones ad before it.
Yes.
All right, we will see everybody. Enjoy your 3-day week.
Well, it's actually the HBO ad. Just because this show's ending doesn't mean we're not going to exist anymore.
That's right.
Don't cancel your subscriptions.
I'm not. There's a lot of. I'm excited for Watchmen.
I'm excited for Watchmen. Yeah, it's gonna be good.
I just finished Barry, which is an amazing second season.
I want to get into Barry. I haven't started watching it yet.
Second season was really good.
Yeah.
Stephen Root is awesome.
Yeah.
And Bill Hader.
That looks good too. His materials.
So many good shows on HBO. Here, I'm going to say it. HBO has more in The Righteous Gemstone. I'm so excited for that. I am more excited for HBO shows than Netflix. Netflix is just like the only show I'm looking forward to is Mindhunters.
Yeah.
And season 3 of Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't really.
They have 176 days until Disney pretty much kills them. So
they're not in competition. None of these. They're not. I mean,
they're losing so much content because of that. It's gonna be.
Not really,
they're in
because
so much debt. Netflix. I was reading a thing yesterday.
Yeah, but Netflix.
They're in so much debt from all the original shows they've been doing.
Over 700 programs this year. They're putting out so much programs.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Like what Disney takes away.
Well, I think once Disney starts doing their own originals is what I'm saying. They're just not going to have as much money coming in.
I don't know. I don't know how these survive. I mean, I've heard the stories about Netflix, but they're pumping money.
Yeah.
And they're buying stuff constantly. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But they're doing it. They're doing it.
But we'll talk all that and more next time. Everyone have a great week. Bryon will be on with the after the movies coming up.
Godzilla,
not Brightburn.
No, because this is coming up Memorial Day, Monday.
Oh, are you guys doing it after the movies for Brightburn?
I'm not going tonight because we're recording this in the past, which is now the future.
Gotcha.
I'm getting meta here. I have to work tonight, and there's no way I'm going to make it in time. So I said I'm not going, which basically means no one's going.
Because you're the linchpin that stirs the ship.
Right.
But
so I said, hey, how about Godzilla? And everybody seemed excited for that. I know Jay's down and Hutzel, me, and probably John will go.
Awesome.
And
I'll
maybe,
go if I don't have jury duty.
Yeah, which is next Thursday, which is technically this Thursday if you're listening to us.
Yes.
But we're recording this on the 23rd.
We're going to have a great Memorial Day weekend.
You already had one because it's Monday.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Have a great Memorial Day.
Yes. Enjoy the rest of your Memorial Day weekend.
Right.
Yes.
And enjoy the week.
All whenever we end up doing another show.
Godzilla will be the next show.
Yes.
Okay, we're out of here.
Here's Jack Black singing Game of Thrones.
Throne, throne, Game of Thrones. Game of Throne, 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 bone. Game of Throne, 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 bone. Game of Throne, bones, throne, bone. Game of the throne, bones, throne, bone. Game of the throne, bones, throne, bone. Game of thrones, game of thrones, Game of Thrones.